The businessman at the center of the 4.1 million cedi scandal at the National Youth Employment Program, Philip Asibit, on Tuesday, told on Accra High Court his company only received monies from the state following formalization of the agreement. He, together with former NYEP coordinator Abuga Pele, are standing trial for causing financial loss to the state. Ms. Abuga Pele is alleged to have recommended the said payment, with the businessman Philip Asibit accused of putting in false claims for no work done. Giving his testimony to the court, the businessman said Goodwill International Group, the company he works for, never took a dime from the state prior to the contract coming into force and its subsequent execution by the company. Joining us, Joseph Akable has more.
So Tuesday's proceedings was to offer the businessman at the center of the controversy an opportunity to tell the court his side of the story. Philip Asibit was in the witness box as he narrated to the court how he entered into that agreement with the NYEP. He insisted that no monies were taken from the state until the agreement was officially formalized, after which he started receiving payments when they had started executing aspects of the contract. He also explained to the court the deliverables in terms of the specifics that his agency, the GIG, were to deliver to the state. He talked about the fact that they were to deliver an exit plan for the state, apart from training for participants on the NYEP program, and also to develop proposals to receive funding from donor agencies. Philip Asibit will be in the box once again on Wednesday, July 26, to continue telling a side of the story to the court. Reporting for Joy News from the Law Court Complex, my name is Joseph Akable.
Right, and moving on to other stories here on Joy News Prime. We're focusing on the Electoral Commission, where the chairperson has proceeded to court with a suit against the lawyer for some unknown persons at the EC who have petitioned for her removal from office over a raft of allegations. In the suit on Monday, July 24, 2017, and intercepted by myjoyonline.com, lawyer for the EC chair, Thaddeus Sori, says the claims contained in the petition, which were publicized both in the social and traditional media, were false and defamatory. He has consequently asked the court to direct the defendant to retract the comments and apologize for saying. All right, so in a bit, we'll still be focusing, we'll be delving some more into the controversy and the anarchy at the Electoral Commission. But where is all this coming from? We've put together a report recapping the events so far.
The country shocked last Thursday with the emergence of a 27-point petition full of allegations and misconduct against the EC chair, Charlotte Osei. The petition, which was to trigger the full impeachment process under Article 146 of the Constitution, partly described the EC chair as incompetent, corrupt, fraudulent and autocratic. The leaked document was signed by lawyer Maxwell Opoku-Agyeman, who claimed to be representing concerned staff of the EC. It stated, among others, that the chairperson of the commission in many instances breached the procurement law in procuring goods and services for the commission. In what the petitioners claimed to be a one-woman show, Charlotte Osei was alleged to have unilaterally and without recourse to procurement procedures engaged the services of lawyers Sori at law, who represented the commission in the pre-election legal banter with aggrieved parties and disqualified flag bearers. She was also alleged to have abrogated an existing contract with the Supertech Limited STL unilaterally, renegotiating and re-awarding the contract at a new sum of over $21 million without serious regard to the tender process. Unhappy with the content of the petition and its publication in the media, lawyer Thaddeus Sori wrote to lawyer Opoku-Agyeman asking him to name the faces behind the petition so that they will be held individually and severally liable for the content of the petition, failing which he, the lawyer, would be held solely responsible. Opoku-Agyeman called the bluff of Thaddeus Sori and dared him to go to court. He has, on behalf of his client, taken the bait and demonstrated their resolve to deal with the lawyer for the petitioners. In the suit, lawyer Sori said the defendant intentionally circulated or caused to be circulated the content of the petition even when the president was yet to receive it. By law, the content of the petition seeking to trigger the impeachment of an appeals court judge or a commissioner is not to be made public, at least until the president has received it. Sori is convinced the allegations against his client were circulated with malicious intent to lower the standard of the EC chair in the eyes of right-thinking members of the public. They are asking the court to declare the allegations as defamatory and requesting that the lawyer be held liable with damages awarded for legal fees. They also want an apology, which they want well publicized, just like the petition for the EC chair's removal.
Now, the Ghana Integrity Initiative is making a strong case for a separate investigation into the allegations bordering on procurement irregularities and criminality in the ongoing Electoral Commission debacle. The EC chair alleges, among others, that her two deputies made procurements beyond lawfully allowed limits. Speaking on the Pulse with Gifty Ando-Apia, Programs Director of GII, Mary Awelana Ada, said the buck stops with the appointing authority, which must in turn act with immediacy.
There is a need for an authority that is vested with the powers of state to immediately call them to order. And this should not take time at all. It should be immediate, it should be prompt, and the action should be seen by all Ghanaians as a non-partisan process. Mind you, there are two substantive issues, but we are talking about the allegations bordering on procurement infringement that the Electoral Commissioner in her response have cited against her deputy commissioners. We are also talking about other allegations of voter transfers, which are criminal in nature. For us as an anti-corruption body, we believe these allegations should not be let lying down like that. We should quickly investigate. The Procurement Act of 2003, Act 663, has been infringed upon. The Auditor General is available. We have people in Parliament. We have legal luminaries who are respected and grounded and respected.
The presidency has yet to comment on the matter since the confirmed receipt of the petition seeking to impeach the EC chairperson. On calls for the three to step aside for investigations to begin, the GIS says that can only be necessitated upon initiation of the investigation, since the persons involved are not doing so voluntarily as they ideally should.
If in other dispensations, they would have stepped down a long time ago because systems and structures are effective and they work. That would be the appropriate thing to do. But as others have indicated, it is early in the day. And I believe that if a committee is set up and these people are seen to have a possibility of hindering the process of the investigation, then definitely they would be asked to step aside. And nobody would ask anybody or impugn anything against anybody for asking them to step aside. It will be best practice, as they themselves are talking about good corporate governance process, for them to step aside for the institution to be investigated. We want to see this issue being dealt with as dispassionately as possible. And currently, we have seen that it is being divided along party lines. And so we are encouraging Ghanaians to look at the substance of the issues. So we will continue to project the issues to ensure that people hear about them, people know exactly what the issues are about, because we are a civil society organization. But then if nothing is happening, then we as a civil society organization with other like-minded ones would be thinking about other options of pursuing an investigation.
Now, the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Oponi Frimpong, says their call for alternative dispute resolution in the current anarchy at the Electoral Commission should not preempt any criminal proceedings that may be required. He suggests the internal structures of the EC must be used to deal with anyone who will be found to have breached any laws after investigations into the matter. Reverend Oponi Frimpong further advised the chairpersons the persons at the Commission to avoid the media war and focus on the well-being of the nation.
Very unfortunate that after a very successful 2016 general election, we will have to face and go through the current challenges we are going through. We were all hoping and working towards peaceful election before, during, and after the election. It seems the post 2016 general election challenges are becoming a very unfortunate one. But that is also the strength of our country. We will be able to sail out of this challenge. I know we will get this challenge behind us very soon. We are confronted with what I may want to call institutional credibility. You know, the Electoral Commission, if you like, is the heart of our electoral system. And the institutional credibility must be protected. That when we go through election and the results come out and we say somebody has won or lost, we as a people will accept the results and move forward. Now, if we get to a point where people have reason not to have confidence and trust in the judgment of the EAC, it will be a threat to our democracy. And that is why we are suggesting that now the way they are all presenting their issues, you know, it started with these concerned workers. Then we have heard the chairperson. Then we have heard other commissioners. We don't know how tomorrow morning will look like. And we will want to call humbly that we may need to cease fire, all of them, knowing that the public confidence of the Electoral Commission is at stake here. We have 2020 election ahead of us, and whatever we do, we must keep that in mind.
Now, the EC boss, Charlotte Osei, is expected in Parliament on Wednesday to answer questions over her management of the Commission. She's expected to respond to questions on how internally generated funds raised ahead of the 2016 elections were used. But some MPs have dropped hints they intend to bring up issues about her management that have emerged in recent days. Vice Chairman of Parliament's Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee, Kojo Kom, tells Joy News that infighting is worrying.
What they are doing portends serious and dire consequences for our democracy. It is necessary that the Electoral Commission and her deputies, rise above petty squabbles and know that we have given them some job that requires equanimity of mind, and sanctity of heart to do it for the benefit of the country. Where they are, very few people can get there. Where we all put our trust in you, that you are going to be independent, impartial, and you are going to declare the will of the people the way it is. So if you are now accusing each other of having fraudulently enriched themselves, what is the guarantee that if a political party gives you some big money and you have this financial allurement from them, you would not divert the course of justice and pervert the will of the people?
There have been calls for all of them to be removed. Maybe they either resign or be cleared, so we bring in fresh hands. What do you think?
It is not as easy as it is being portrayed. And in any case, those fresh hands, are they insulated from the general malaise in the country where we don't trust anybody? We must purge the system, we must purge ourselves as a country. Because I can assure you that no matter who you bring, if we still have the mutual suspicion and mistrust of the system, you bring the personality, he may have to do a lot to win the confidence back. But those who have brought the petition, I think that this is a self-inflicted blow, because they themselves threw these allegations, and on the part, because of that, other people felt that, okay, let us also, now that with the little that we have, let's put in a petition. Now that the petition has, the process has started, I believe that the Constitution has ways of going about it.
Watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break. Stay tuned, we're back with more. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has pledged the support of government for the family of the late Constable Daniel Owusu. He assured financial support towards the constable's funeral and subsequent help with the upkeep of the family.
It's been 2 weeks since the unfortunate shooting incident at La Paz, which resulted in the death of Constable Daniel Owusu and the injury of his colleague in the line of duty. Today, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has decided to visit the family, including the widow Efia Owusu, for whom the death of her husband is still fresh on her mind. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has assured her that the family will be supported.
On behalf of the President, I'm here to console you and also to assure you and the family that the state is not going to forget you. And we will be very supportive throughout the process of the funeral and everything. We are going to be very, very supportive in looking after you and to looking after the family.
He was accompanied by the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry and the Inspector General of Police IGP David Asantia Pietu. The Interior Minister Ambrose Derry explained that the Vice President, who is the Chairman of the Police Council, was unable to visit the family immediately after the incident because he was not available in the country. The widow of the deceased constable expressed her gratitude to the Vice President and his delegation. She also described how the past 2 weeks have been without her husband.
Na 2 weeks mekunu efrimu eyawo no ewom na reho so ahyamema.
Reporting for Joy News, I'm Daniel Daze from the Tesano District's Police Headquarters.
Former President John Ejekun Kufuor, during whose presidency oil was discovered in commercial quantities in Ghana, has begun a project to ensure Ghanaians benefit from the resource. The project brings together a group of energy experts who would help make it a reality. Receiving the delegation, former President Kufuor said he expects the experts to transfer their know-how to Ghanaian institutions to help strengthen regulations governing local content in Ghana.
The past decade, we eventually found them, and but at great cost. And people generally are now craving to find out whether the find would be impactful on our lives economically. Because as you just said, with them, with oil and gas, when efficiently used and used with care for the people, you empower, you enable the economy to take off effectively, to do the social interventions as well as also to grow the wealth. Without wealth, there's hardly anything you can do these days. But the refreshing thing is to meet a young lady like you, an engineer, petroleum engineer. When I met you first, I couldn't believe that you'd be so qualified. But you've been in this industry for over 20 years already. And you've been working on practically all the continents. So when I saw the book, that a copy of which you've given me, titled Local Content Key Enabler for Oil and Gas Projects in Emerging Markets, we are included. Most of the continent of Africa should be described as emerging markets. When I looked at the title, I thought you would be the person to visit us here and to let us get insights into how to use the funds to empower our people so that we wouldn't sit on this God-given gift to us for other people to come from other continents to shove us aside and take the wealth away with them, like they've done. If you are talking of gold, for instance, our country used to be called Gold Coast, and yet when you look around the country, you wouldn't believe that this is a country whose entire geology is gold. Why? Because there's been a lack of knowledge and also lack of policy to increase the local content. So this book, I'm going to try to study in detail. But perhaps even better still, we should get to hear more and more often.
MT Energy are consultants for the project, which will ensure locals are employed in the industry. Mariel Tulikima is a global energy advisor with the firm.
And I really want to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency, Dr. Kofu, to really give me the opportunity to be here in Ghana and have the opportunity to meet the oil and gas community and some of the dignitaries here to look at what are the opportunities in the sector, and especially looking at the local content aspect, which is a very important aspect for developing country, especially oil-rich developing country, for the diversification of their economy and also the industrialization. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy with the welcome. It's my first time in Ghana, and I really enjoy the way I'm being received and having the opportunity to really get to know the Ghanaian people and see how I can contribute my knowledge and my experience to help the country to move forward, especially in my area of expertise. And I really look forward to get to meet more people, to really collaborate with the different stakeholders and parties, and really bring something positive to Ghana as well, because that's the most important thing here.
We're taking a break. On Joy News Prime, we'll bring you business news next. Stay tuned.
Good evening to you. A great pleasure to come your way with business. Now, local oil marketing companies are reiterating the need to reserve a major part of downstream petroleum activities to indigenous companies. The chief executive of Petrosol, Michael Bozombil, in an interview with Joy Business, emphasized the essence of refining crude oil produced from the country's upstream offshore basins to give meaning to the value chain of the oil and gas industry. The city's stability has many times been linked to foreign oil marketing companies who repatriate huge amounts of profits in hard currencies back to their homelands. He noted local companies, which already constitute a chunk of the downstream, have demonstrated their capacity to fully take over the sector.
Currently, there are over 84 oil marketing companies operating in Ghana's downstream sector, with many of them indigenous. However, they are yet to derive the desired impact on the economy as the handful of multinational players within the sector repatriate their earnings abroad. This situation has consistently put pressure on the city, coupled with the active participation of international oil production companies, have posed some challenges to the economy. The vice chairman of the Association of Oil Marketing Companies, Michael Bozombil, re-echoed the call for a rigorous local content agenda.
It does not make economic sense to be producing oil, you export it raw, then you import finished product. It doesn't make any economic sense. And so I believe that we should be refining our crude oil locally. However, it must be done efficiently, because again, it doesn't make economic sense to take your crude oil, refine it at a loss, because your refinery is operating below optimal level. Lots of inefficiencies are inherent in the refinery's operation. So for us to do that, we must correct the inherent challenges that the refinery has, so that we get this done.
He lamented illegal petroleum products which are being marketed countrywide and urged the NPA to continue its efforts to clamp down on such nefarious activities.
If you consider that, the economy grew, by over 6% for the first quarter, and each time there's economic growth, the growth rates, corresponds with the growth rate in terms of petroleum, products consumption growth rate. Unfortunately, we have had a downward trend, which is an indication that official figures are not reflecting actual consumption on the ground. And that is because we have illegal products that are brought in, which are, have not been taxed, and people are selling them, through illegal means, and that is affecting our volumes.
Michael Bozumbil, also the Chief Executive Officer of Petrosol, emphasized quality as a key factor to enhance market share and not necessarily pricing by competitors.
We have come to understand, based on our research with the consumers, that price is not the only determinant of value delivery to the consumer. In fact, the key thing is delivering accurate quantity to the consumer. And, Petrosol has taken that stance, and we are noted in the industry for delivering quality products, at accurate, volumes to our consumers.
He called for oil marketing companies to consider mergers and strategic acquisitions in the downstream sector.
Access Bank Ghana has disclosed it is injecting about $20 million capital into its operations. The company says the capital has become crucial due to the many business opportunities the bank decided to undertake in the country. Managing Director of Access Bank, Dolapo Ogundimu, was speaking at the Facts Behind the Figures series in Accra. He noted even though the bank has enough funds to recapitalize, the capital will be used to cater for some operations of the bank in Ghana. There's more in this report.
Commercial banks in the country are preparing to meet the new capital requirement expected to be announced by the Bank of Ghana this year. Even though Access Bank is a well-capitalized bank with a strong financial background, the bank says it requires some extra capital to be able to deal with other business operations in the country. According to the Managing Director, Dolapo Ogundimu, the bank has a bigger ambition for Ghana, hence the decision to engage its parent company for additional capital injection.
Source money from our parent company to beef. Right now, our shareholders' funds is 456. I believe we have enough reserves to capitalize in the event that they call on it. But having said that, we have a lot of ambition for Ghana, so we're engaging our our parent company to inject new capital, and if we have to convert to permanent capital, then so be it. So before the end of this year, I might say that we might be getting an additional $20 million as second-tier capital, just to beef up our operations in Ghana.
On his part, Ifeanyi Njoku, Executive Director of Access Bank, stressed the bank has enough funds to meet the new capital requirement whenever the central bank is ready.
That's the way forward.
Okay, the admission by MD that by the end of this year you are expecting some $20 million from your parent company. Does it mean that you could not be able to meet the new minimum requirement rate when it comes out?
No, let's not even talk about new minimum requirement because we don't know what it will be. Some people are saying 200 million, some people are saying 250 million. It could well be that we meet the new minimum requirement, depending on what figure it will be. So there might not be any need to raise that capital just to meet the minimum. It could just be that we raise it to increase our size and ability to be in the business, not to meet the requirement, because the requirement could as well be met presently, depending on what the new rate will be.
The bank's total loans declined by 7% from 1.29 billion cedis in June 2016 to 1.2 billion cedis in June 2017.
Now, the era of uncertainty surrounding the appropriate import duties to be paid on vehicles imported into the country seem to be drawing to a close. A new app known as Duty to Go, used to accurately calculate duties on vehicles brought into the country from the US market, has come up. Architects of the app say it will help end the anxiety of Ghanaians at home and across the diaspora who go through concerning exact taxes to be charged on their imported vehicles at the ports. There's more in this report.
The desire by many to bring home vehicles, both used and new ones, is normally cut short by some unpleasant experiences of other people concerning payment of duties at the ports. These experiences include overpayment of import duties due to wrong calculation and during payment of harsh demurrage penalties, and some non-declaration of appropriate figures by clearing agents. However, with the introduction of the duty-to-go app, all these harrowing experiences will gradually be relegated to the background. The inventors of the duty-to-go app says it affords importers of vehicles the right to calculate the precise duty before they are shipped. Chief Operations Officer Arnold Dokonu explains.
Duty-to-go is a simple application that allows importers who want to import vehicles into Ghana to be able to have an accurate estimation of the cost of import duties before they actually even purchase the car. What we noticed from our previous experiences were that the modalities with which import duties are calculated are not so clear to most people. People assume it's a fraction of the cost of the vehicle and so on. And so when they import the cars into the country, they get surprised at the high costs of import duties. And then that's when we start hearing issues of penalties and demurrage and cars getting seized and all that. Basically, the GRA is governed by an act, okay? That act is a public document, okay? The act spells out with some accuracy what kind of vehicles have what kind of taxes applicable. Okay, what we did is that we took the act, reviewed it, and converted that act into a big calculator. Okay, so we have systems that fetch the vehicle data and we test the vehicle data against the calculator. And so if your vehicle is a 1.8 liter engine manufactured in a particular year, we apply the taxes applicable. There are a lot of other parameters involved, but I'm not trying to go into the nitty-gritty, but basically that's how it works.
The chief technologist of Crust Solutions highlights further on the new app.
For now, if you are in America, for instance, or you're in Canada, you can download, but your subscription, you cannot do the subscription because of the payment mode. Payments now for subscription is via mobile money. Now, as we speak, now, as I said, we're working on getting the digital platforms, other payment platforms. We are trying to put up other payment modes for Visa, for MasterCard, I mean, all other credit card payment modes, so that those who are not in Ghana will be able to subscribe easily by using their credit cards. Yeah, our app for now is handling cars that are coming from America. So we mainly have dollars in there so that to take care of those who are out of Ghana, in the diaspora, Ghanaians living abroad. So basically they will look at dollars. They would like to see things from the dollar perspective. They will do the calculations in dollars. So as I said, we have the dollar function, we have the dollar page, we have a CD page as well. So it's your choice to actually toggle between the CD or you do your dollar, you pick the dollar, or you do the calculation by inputting the rates that's applicable, and then you get the CD as well. Yeah.
For now, the app will be applicable to cars coming from the United States market, as efforts are underway to include vehicles coming from the Asian.
That's it for business tonight. Many thanks for watching. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We have the small news coming up. Don't go away. Good evening.
A former technical advisor at the Energy Ministry, whose home was searched on Tuesday, says he's disappointed that the state has decided to make him the subject of investigations into the Ameri power deal. Francis Jatta was visited by officers from the Criminal Investigations Department who told him they had been instructed to retrieve all mobile phones, laptops, USB sticks, and all other electronic devices which could provide information on the $510 million deal. It comes just a day after a similar search at the home of the former Power Minister Kwabena Donkor. Though Mr. Jatta says he gave his full cooperation to the officers who showed up in his home, he told Joy News he could not have been complicit in any illegality as far as the deal is concerned because he was only a technocrat who was asked to deliver the project. He described the ongoing investigations as a wild goose chase.
If government were to give me 320 million today, I would put up that plant, but not in 3 months. I'll probably do it within a year. Okay, and at the time, government didn't even have the money to do the civil work, which was about 24 million Ghana cedis. Just the civil work. Ghana government didn't have the money to do that work. So how could he have got the money to do a $320 million project? Therefore, you have to go to a developer. Ameri is a developer. Okay, developers get EPC contractors, they will get owners, engineers, they will get equipment manufacturers to get a plant from. They put all these people together and they hold the risk. Okay, Ameri didn't come with Medca initially. They came with APR. APR is a well-known rental company, big company. But the reason why that Ameri's relationship with APR failed was that APR just couldn't give us 10 brand new machines that we wanted. So after the whole project was approved by Parliament, we were now hungry because APR couldn't deliver and Ameri handled this project. So they were lucky and they got Medca. And Medca probably did the job cheaper. Okay, there is nothing wrong with that, in our opinion. It's just business, as far as I'm concerned. But we have to ask ourselves, did we get value for money? I think yes. Because that plant, after 5 years, we will still have at least 15 years of life out of that plant, which we use for. At that time, when it's already paid for, capacity comes to zero, the tariff from that plant can even become cheaper, which is beneficial to the country. So what did we do wrong?
Are you suggesting that the capacity charge for that plant has been essentially affronted, as in paid in the first 5 years?
Yes. Now, if we change this plan to IPP over 20 years, now, one thing we should understand that every IPP is a rental over a long period of time, 20 years. So their capacity becomes smaller because we are paying the same thing. Instead of paying 850 million a month, we are going to pay little over a year. I must say that Ghana government has not paid a peso on this plant to anybody, not a dollar. Actually, the plant is being paid for through the tariff. Me and you are paying for that plant. DRE has not paid for it. Okay? So these people have invested their money. The plant is in the country, in our possession. If that plant got burnt, who is at risk? It's Ameri. Medca will go after Ameri. Okay? And Ameri will have to make sure they paid Medca. So somebody is holding the rates here.
All right.
So we cannot say that, and now I should stress it again, we did not pay Ameri 510 million. Ameri is being paid. The first time they got payment was at the end of March 2016. And we still have 3.5 years to go.
All right. You talk about the fact that you and I are paying for this plant through our tariffs.
Yes.
But then the complaint is that because it's highly priced, we're paying a lot more than we probably should be paying.
Yeah, tell me, how are you paying a lot more when car power ship is 7.26 for capacity and O&M, fixed O&M?
So
and
all
is 5.56.
So all those plants together, we're paying more for electricity.
Well, it is because of how we contract our plants. Okay, if you're doing an open book PPA, you will always pay more because you are taking somebody's model, financial model, no matter how complex it is, and you put it into the pot and you come up with a tariff. If we do what we call closed book PPA, which I was advocating in the ministry, then you can bring your tariff down. You do closed book, it means that we make our model, we say this is what we can pay for. We want to build a power plant of say 300 megawatts over the next 3 years. And our maximum that we want to pay in this tariff or capacity is 3 cents. And with the energy, 11 cents. Then the people can take it, go back and work it backwards, and come up with their figures. Now, if we do open book, they bring you all the things that they've spent and all that, and you put it in. The tariff will be high because that is why with the same machine in this country, we have various tariffs. Most of our machines are frame 9. You ask me why do you have different capacity for the same machine that is the same output, it is because of how it is procured. It's unsolicited. So we should get away from that now and do closed book PPA and tender. Then we'll see our tariff coming down. We've done that in the ministry for the solar power system, and from 23 cents, we came down to less than 11, and it's still coming down. So that is the only way we can bring this down. But so long as we are doing PPA open book, our tariff will be high. But in terms of America, which is 5.56, compared to the other one, same power 6 point something, car power 6.2, 7.26, AXA 7.05, you cannot say that America is more expensive. Okay, so that is what we did as technocrat. We compared all these things and we said this is what. Now, if somebody is making money anywhere, we don't know. I don't know. And I don't think there's any financial loss here. This is strictly business. Somebody approaches you, you don't have the money, he wants to do this thing, it's a high purchase. Okay, if you buy a Land Cruiser today of 100,000, if you have the money, you drive into the showroom, you pick it up and you go, $100,000. If you want to buy a high purchase over 3 years, you may pay 200,000 at the end of the 3 years. It's the same thing we are talking about. We don't have the money. So somebody gets somebody to bring the money. He makes his money. Face the person. Don't come and call me Francis Jatta because I have nothing to do with it.
Minority in Parliament is described as dastardly a search on the home of former Prime Minister Kwabena Donkor. According to them, the visit by the Criminal Investigations Department CID of the Police Service is shameful and a sad development in a country that upholds the right to privacy of its citizens. In a statement issued Tuesday and signed by the minority leader Haruna Idrisu, the minority said the defense that the raid was based on the order of a lower court provides an inadequate defense. Joseph Gakwa, parliamentary correspondent, he joins me in the studio with more. Hello, Joseph.
Hello.
The minority are clearly unhappy about the search of the home of the former Prime Minister, Dr. Kwabena Donkor. But why do they say that his rights have been violated?
And so they quote portions of the Constitution and indicate that under the Constitution, the integrity of every citizen's private communication is highly protected, and that it's only under exceptional circumstances that it can be breached, and they don't see this as one of those exceptional circumstances. They go on to make the point that it's even more troubling that the honourable member has never been informed until recently that he was shown a court order that he's a suspect in investigations into the said and married deal. They say that they consider the raid unacceptable and that it's an action by the state agency that's seeking to impede the work of Parliament, and that this improper conduct amounts to contempt of Parliament under Article 122 of the Constitution. They say that it's also a breach of the privileges when it comes to, a member of Parliament, and this was an attempt to stop him from performing his very legitimate duties. They make a very wild allegation here. Let me end with that briefly. They claim that the invasion of Honorable Donkor's residence signals the era of a calculated program to harass and intimidate vociferous members of the minority, and also to stifle the progress of our democratic process. Our democracy and freedoms are guaranteed under the Constitution, and we in the minority will not sit idly and watch. We will resist it with all the force at our disposal.
Did they say, or are they saying what they intend to do about this, apart from putting out the statement?
So you would recall that there was the earlier threats, even from Dr. Kwabena Donkor himself, indicating that they intend to petition the Speaker so that then just maybe they could get the police head to come to Parliament to respond to questions on that. I put that to the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu himself, earlier in the day. He refused any further comment on the issue. We got the hint that earlier in the day there was a meeting of the minority caucus when it comes to those on the Energy Committee. We are told that it's after that they issued this particular statement. A follow-up meeting was expected later in the day, which couldn't come off, and this was supposed to have been a meeting of the entire minority caucus, and we understand that subsequently that meeting will come on and a firm decision on their next steps will be taken when the entire minority caucus meets.
All right, thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gapo. He's our parliamentary correspondent. You're watching Joy News Prime. On to other stories, and one person is feared dead following severe flooding caused by heavy rainfall in the Tamale metropolis. The storm is said to have wreaked havoc in many communities in the metropolis. Virtually all parts of the city were inundated by the floodwaters, halting movement in some areas. Amongst the worst affected communities include Doinyaile, Jakaraili, Fu, Taha, Sawaba. Assemblyman for the Fu electoral area, Mohammed Ali, told Joy News he's mobilizing community members to rescue those who are trapped in their homes.
The main issue here is just the bridges. They are not big enough to contain the water that is coming from town. So I called the Rules. I was not getting them. But I've just been informed by one of the boys of our MP that he is able to get them and that they will soon be here. Then also I called Sandaro District Assembly, the engineer, so that he could come around to see what is going on. Then he said they are also trapped in at the office, that they cannot even get access to town, not to talk of even coming here to see what is happening. So that is what is happening out there too. And just learned that some people are trapped in their homes. I have also seen some people making efforts. I've seen some number of people moved into this guest house. What is the name? Oboy Guest House. They went in there and picked some people out. So far, I think that is what people are doing for the community for now. But then I also learned, I heard some people are trapped in. That is what I'm still going in there to see.
Northern Regional Correspondent Martina Bugri joins me on phone with the latest. Hello, Martina. Now, do we know the identity of the person who died earlier today? And if indeed, it has been confirmed?
It is confirmed the person is dead actually, but we are yet to know her identity. And all we know is another person is missing. A little boy, aged about 3 years, a schoolboy, we are told is also missing. It's unaccounted for as we speak now, but we don't know whether he's dead or he's alive.
Now, are the rains still pouring or they've ceased?
The rain actually lasted for about an hour and a half and caused such havoc. It didn't rain for too long, but it was really heavy.
All right, I can imagine at this point, at this time of the day, people should be going to bed. How are the displaced coping?
I spoke to some of them before coming on there, and most of them, some would have to lodge with friends, family, and some have to move from their communities to different communities that are a bit upstream, and then there is no water. And so some are also expected to lodge in schools, which are classrooms which are empty, whilst the NADMO and other officials come in tomorrow to help settle them.
Now, how many people are we talking about here? Tens, hundreds,
we are unable to give a number because almost the whole city got flooded. A few places didn't get these floods, but most of the communities were flooded.
When was the last time you guys, Tamale, saw anything like this?
I haven't seen such rain before in Tamale since I was born, and I've lived over 30 years in Tamale.
Are the NADMO officials present and are they helping in any way?
Yes, I spoke to the director of operations at NADMO, and he says that they were at Taha, they went to the hospital, they were at Gumani and other areas, and they were heading actually to Jakarayele at the time we spoke. And they are going around assessing the situation and then move in to support these people.
All right, thank you very much. Martina Bugri, Northern Region Correspondent, bringing us that update on the floods in the Northern Regional capital, Tamale. The new maternity and mother and baby unit being built at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital is beginning to take shape, with engineers working feverishly to get it ready and commissioned by the end of October. The project aims to drastically reduce maternal and infant deaths at the current ward. A team from the First Lady's Office and the Multimedia Group Limited toured the facility on Tuesday. We bring you Seth Kwame Wating's report.
The physical structures of the edifice have taken shape, with the mother and baby unit nearing the lintel level. The project was inspired by a Joy News documentary, Next to Die, which revealed about 4 babies die every day at the hospital as a result of congestion at the wards. Engineer on site, Stephen Courage, briefed the team about the work done so far.
What we've achieved is we've managed to finish off all of our earthworks, and we've now managed to pour the first raw slab and erect the walls for the pediatric building. The next stage will be to pour the raw slab for the maternity building and then erect the walls. So what we have done there at the moment is we've planned to do that next week Monday. Thereafter we'll erect the walls by the Monday thereafter. So we'll be at the similar stage to where we're at now, Monday thereafter. So
the engineers also took the team on a tour, showing the members the various units.
With a stretcher, just to examine vital signs, maybe take some blood, any HIV testing that needs to be done, any sickle testing that needs to be done. The hospital does a lot of sickle testing. This area here is where the nurses station will be, and the nurse obviously will control any movement in and out of the building. So she will direct people, the visitors, through the building, and there will be a whole lot of visitors seating in this area. All right. This door here, what that does is that leads to the neonatal consultation. So we'll have a neonatal doctor in there for consultation with the mothers and children. Any sick babies can obviously then be taken through into the hospital once they've been seen by the doctor. Those 2 cubicles there, those are the ONG consultations, so basically gynecology. Again, expectant mothers coming in, having a consultation with a doctor, and we have two rooms over there for that. This entrance over here is where the nurse will direct patients, especially mothers with sick babies, through the door. So we'll have a door over here. That door will have access control. So you can't simply have visitors just walking through the hospital. Everything is controlled in terms of access. So nurse allows mothers through. These small rooms over here that you see, these are all little storerooms. So every available space that we have, we've used for storerooms, for cleaners' cupboards. We've really tried to provide.
Managing Director of Multi-TV, Santok Singh, was happy about the work done so far.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, it's like you know, I wish that we can even speed it up further, because, like I said, a day we delay 4 or 5 baby dies, so we can save that as much as possible. So the hope is there. I mean, I'm happy with the progress. You know, we are very happy with the progress and all that. And it's amazing looking at the technology that is being used to build this this building, and also the green. I mean, how energy saving this building will be, to also support the management of the hospital to better manage the operation of the building. So very happy, very hopeful, and God willing, we'll achieve our target.
Kweku Kwachi, who is also in charge of projects at the office of the First Lady, thanked all those who are supporting to make the project a reality.
Well, first of all, I wish to state that the First Lady is truly excited about how things are progressing here. She is so happy because, first of all, we're saving lives, and once this project is completed, we're looking to save at least 10 lives per day, which is a significant improvement to our healthcare system, one, and a significant improvement to the loss of our dear mothers who are building this nation as well. So it is something that she's really excited about, and you can see it here. It's up. And I'm certain that within the timeline of 4 months, we should be able to complete this project and hand it over to Parliamentary Hospital.
The project is being funded with over 10 million cedis raised by the First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo together with the Multimedia Group Limited. The new facility will be 5 times the size of the current maternity and mother and baby unit.
Lands and Natural Resources Minister John Tamale says the government will next week deploy the first batch of military personnel in the renewed clampdown on illegal mining. The officers, he says, will be deployed to the Western, Ashanti and Eastern regions to help fight the menace in an operation codenamed Operation Halt 3. Mr. Tamale disclosed this in an interview with Joy News' Beatrice Hedu at Bundase, where the troops are being trained.
We're getting close to the training session now. You saw the morale, and I'm I'm pretty sure that we're going to deploy them very soon, maybe within the next 1 week. They're going to deploy them, and they've been trained already. Training have been completed, very intensive training. They've been taken through all the necessary processes as the CDS made us understand. And so we're waiting for their deployment, and I believe strongly that it's going to be done as quickly as possible.
One of the things you also mentioned was that there are going to be certain rules of engagement, bearing in mind the unfortunate demise of Major Mahama. What is the rule of engagement moving forward this time around?
Well, those they have already gone through, and from our part as a ministry and government, we are strictly interested in a community-military relationship, and so this is not going to be what we saw in the past, an aggressive attack, not at all, but it's going to explain to the communities more the impact of illicit mining activities on the environment, and that is why basically I've been here today to take them through what we mean by illicit mining. So these are some of the things that they'll be doing. It's going to differ from their normal, operation, and this is a stakeholder engagement processes that they are going to undertake with the community. So I think that's a critical aspect of the role of the engagement that they're talking about.
Beatrice, do witness some of the training the troops are undergoing?
The officers, comprising 200 military men and 200 police personnel, charged up as they met the Chief of Defence Staff, Lieutenant General Obed Akwa, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, John Peter Mewu, and his deputy, and the National Security Advisor, Brigadier General Otre, retired. The operation is codenamed Operation Hall 3. The reason is Operation Hall 3 is because there was a first operation which is in charge of illegal lumbering in our forest. There has also been a second operation which is in charge of other illegal activities.
Been doing joint operations in Accra and other places. It depends upon what assignment it is.
So we are talking about Galamsey now.
So Galamsey, this is a different one because this is a President's special initiative against Galamsey. So for that, I would say this is the first time.
We know how the military works. I mean, you're basically trained to defend the country, but this time you're being brought on board for something that is internal. How is it going to be like?
We've been working on internal operations always in the north and in the other places. We are trained such that any assignment given us, we should be able to operate. So as we come together with the police and then we train together for some few days, we should adjust and be on the same frequency, and it should be easy for us.
Interacting with them, Mr. Mewu said mining in water bodies and along waterbeds is treasonable. And
all right, thank you very much, Aisha Ibrahim. And that's it for the bulletin. My name is Israel. I am the other guy.
This is Joy News Prime.